Gents. Today we're going to talk about the next modification to the Z650, which will be the sprocket and chain kit. I've been doing a little research trying to pinpoint what kind of kit I want to put on, how much weight I can drop just by changing to a lighter material on the sprockets and by going to a higher grade chain. So far I'm looking toward the Vortec Cat 5 system, which is a 520 kit, steel front sprocket, and the Cat 5 rear sprocket. Pretty cool looking. Put a picture of it right here. And I'm looking at going with the 3.5 pound chain, the RS whatever, part numbers right there. Drop some weight. That'll save on the rotational mass that's getting spun by the engine. That'll free up just a little bit of power, make the bike more responsive and a little quicker in itself. But I'm debating on whether to go one tooth down on the front and one up on the rear, or to go the same on the front sprocket and 2 to 3 teeth up on the rear. That's going to give me anywhere from a 5 to 10% change on acceleration and torque that the bike's going to have. It lowers the top end speed, but I've got some charts where you can look. I'll post those up at Tremonte.tv under the tuning section, and you guys will be able to see how much you'll gain or lose. But let's explain and talk about the benefit of adding a sprocket kit to a motorcycle in general. Now, from the factory, what they put on your bike, they look for middle of the road, what's going to give you the best response on the bike, along with a decent top end speed. Now, if you're wanting to go faster, then you want to decrease the size on the rear sprocket and increase the size on the front. You always get more from the front sprocket than the rear. Now, the downside to increasing the front sprocket size, that's where the majority of the force is. That's directly off the gearbox of the motor, and there's a lot of force. That's where you need the strongest point on the drivetrain. So you want to stay typically with a steel front sprocket, and by doing that you don't decrease any weight. So typically you want to change your rear sprocket by using the gearing calculator to achieve what you want. And I'm also going to put up a link to Gear Commander, which they have an awesome online spreadsheet where you can punch in your current gearing and then see what it would do by changing one up, two down, one up, however you want to configure it. And they also have a lot of the bikes pre-configured on there already, where the only thing you need to do is from the drop down menu select your bike. But if you don't know the information, you can always manually enter it. This Kawasaki Z650 2017 year model, you're looking at 15 teeth on the front sprocket and 46 on the rear. And you know, tentatively what I'm looking at is 14 on the front, 47 on the rear. That's a 9.5% torque increase. And I'll pop the charts up so you can see what the change is going to look like. That is a lot of acceleration. This bike has an awesome linear torque curve as it is, but I kind of want a little more acceleration. Now, you will lose top speed, like I said earlier. I think by doing that, the top speed of this bike will drop to about 103 miles per hour. And as you can see, I'm stuck on the parkway behind traffic right now, but I will not hit 100 miles an hour on the parkway. For one, it's stupid to be going that far above the speed limit. And also, these curves, if you can handle the curvy sections of this and the other roads around here at 103 mile an hour, you should be a professional racer. Just plain and simple. Most people are not going to ride a bike to the capability that they can achieve anyway. So for me personally, I want more low-end acceleration and torque, so that's what I'm looking to achieve. Now if you're building a track bike where you have long straightaways, you might want to gear up for top end. But here's a link to the charts and the specifications, and we're going to flip over and go talk about what all we can accomplish by doing that chain wear, the pros and cons of changing out sprockets. So let's go and do that now.
Alright guys, I've already got it set up here. We've got the Kawasaki Z650 2017. Here is the stock configurations. Primary driver ratio is 2.095. Rear tire size, circumference, and the max RPM. This is not the max RPM for the Z650, but it is pretty close to where the max peak power production is. So we're going to leave that where it is. The final drive gear ratio, 15 teeth on the front sprocket, 46 on the rear. And here where it says custom, this is what I've got it changed to, is 14 in the front, 47 in the rear. Now what that's going to do, I have this displayed at 0 RPM, and for our custom setting, this is the speed in first gear throughout the RPM range, and each gear consecutively. So you can see the max speed for the custom setting is 103.7 miles per hour in the bottom right hand corner there. Now if we change it to the stock, you'll see it's 113.5. So by going toward the gearing, I'm going to lose my top speed, and you can see how it changes throughout the gear range and what RPM range. And we scroll on down here, it's going to show top speed miles per hour per gear for 49 final drive combinations at max RPM in custom setup. So I've got it selected in 4th gear, which is typically where I cruise, and you can just hit up or down and watch it change the charts here. But I'm going to leave it in 4th. And for custom rear sprocket, 47 teeth and then 14. You can see it says equals. Now if I want to go down on the front or down on the rear, you can use this chart and it'll tell you what your top speed for each gear is going to be. Pretty nifty little thing to look at. Alright, we keep going on down. RPM differences due to drivetrain setup changes. Now this is going to tell you your gain at 50 miles per hour, and you can change it. We'll do 60 if you want to do regular old cruising speed for the interstate or whatever. But this is difference custom to current. Current being stock, current and stock I have set as the same, is a 9.48 increase in RPM, which is acceleration and torque. That's why we had the drop in speed. Okay, so if I go back, let's go up here and change my custom. We want to drop 2 teeth, and that's going to increase our max speed by 5 miles per hour, 118.6. Yeah, because when you drop teeth on the rear, you gain max speed. When you increase, which is what I'm wanting to do from 46 to 47, if I left the front at 15, so I'm only going to lose like 2 miles per hour, but my torque gain is only 2%, which is negligible to me. I mean, yeah, you will feel the difference just in going to the chain, the 520 kit, just from the weight reduction. But let's put this back for the 650 where I want to go, 1447. My max speed 103, which honestly I'll not see. That's almost a 10%, 9.5% gain on my torque. That's throughout the range. Now the most important thing you want to look at is how this is going to affect the wear. Now at stock, same tooth to chain position every X chain revs. This is how often the same tooth on the sprocket is going to hit the same chain position. So at stock, it's going to take 5 revolutions on the front sprocket to hit the same chain link. On the rear, it takes 23 revolutions. Both front and rear, 115. That's how many combined revolutions it takes for the same tooth on each sprocket to hit the same exact link. And by going to the custom setup, I gain 2 extra revolutions on my front, and I gain double, 24 revolutions on the rear sprocket. That's why it's green. That's good. That means a reduction in chain and sprocket wear. Now, by the added torque, that's going to kind of offset itself, because you're going to be under more force, and depending how you ride, what kind of terrain, how often you lubricate your chain, that all has wear factors to it. A properly lubricated chain has right at a 98%, 97, 98% efficiency. So that's why you always want to lube your chain every couple hundred miles. It makes a big difference in the bike. And then this here tells you how many tooth to link contacts and link to teeth contacts there are. Now, by increasing the size of the sprocket, I have 239 more contacts per mile, which is exactly the same amount of torque in wear gain that I'm going to get. That's how much more of a durability loss there's going to be, just because more contacts are occurring. And I'm fine with that. I'm going with a stronger chain. More likely it will be the rear sprocket that gets wore down quicker, because it's a Cat 5 anodized aluminum. But again, I'm not that aggressive of a rider, so I'm thinking it's going to last for quite a few seasons. They're easy enough to change. I will be doing a video on that in the future. But these charts I'm going to put up on Tremonte.tv, along with a link to the Gearing Commander website, so you guys can get in here and play around with it. If your bike's not listed, you can come in and just manually enter all this information and just start playing with numbers. Alright guys, if you have any questions or comments about gearing a bike, or changing the sprockets and chain, or any such thing as that, drop comments below. If you have any tips or experience from doing bikes on your own, anything that you've come across that might be helpful to anybody else or even myself, leave it below as well.
Appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos, upcoming tunes, mods, how-tos, and beautiful scenic rides. Catch you later.